Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I am back with another video. All right, y'all. So we're at the end of the year. It is December 31st. At the time of the recording of this video, it's about 5:45. Well, almost going on 6 now. So this is definitely the last video I do for this year. Definitely the last video I do for this year. But I just want to get on here one more time and talk about a particular fighter. One that I'm a fan of, but I'm also kind of curious about the future of this fighter. Of course, I'm talking about Zhang Weili. After watching this recent interview, it's about 10 to 12 minutes long. She talked about a few different things. Can't help but wonder, what's next for Zhang Weili in 2022? Zhang Weili did this interview, back home. And what I like about these home interviews that she does, they're a little bit more personal, because the lady that was doing the interview, she's just asking straight up questions, not adding a lot of humor in there, not trying to twist up words. Nothing really gets lost in translation here. So Zhang Weili pretty much was just talking about different things about, the losses this year, kind of reflecting back on those losses and her future moving forward in 2022, right? So I just want to talk about what's next for, in my opinion, in 2022. After watching this interview, I definitely got to say there's still a lot of hope out there for Zhang Weili, because I think she is a fighter that does learn from her mistakes. It's just going to take time to kind of rebuild because, coming into the game, she lost her first fight and then she went almost 19 fights straight, 19, 20 fights straight without losing, right? So you kind of build an aura, right? You do kind of build an aura about yourself where you feel like you are kind of unbreakable. But this year, her eyes were kind of open. Well, I won't say they were kind of open. They were open about what can happen to you, right? So I think that moving forward into 2022, Zhang Weili is really going to, go back to the drawing board and try to rebuild herself as a fighter, because she did say that, she is trying to learn from these losses. She's trying to see what she did wrong and what she did right. And that's how you're supposed to do. These losses, well, it's always like I say, you can take an L as a loss or you can take it as a learning experience. And I think Zhang Weili, she's taking this L as a learning experience right now. She's trying her best to go in there and say, what did I do wrong the first fight in and out of the octagon? What did I do wrong in the second fight in and out of the octagon, right? So, in this interview, she just talked about how she gained a lot from him. She gained a lot as a person. She learned that she needs to go back, reflect and refine and review, the mistakes she's making, and what she's doing right in these fights. Because like I said, Zhang Weili, when you get to the top this quick, this fast, you don't really have time to review sometimes. The UFC's pushing her at such a quick pace that they just continue to do what's working for them. They don't say, okay, what if we come across this? What if we come across that? So they just continue to just build off of what she was doing. So by the time they face somebody like Rose Namajunas, it was kind of too late to change, right? Even in the second fight, trying to change so drastically, do a whole 180 as a wrestler was kind of hard for, right? So I think this year they're going to kind of balance it out. Moving forward this year, they're going to kind of balance it out. They're going to try to rebuild her, and start with the old Zhang Weili and just kind of add to her game. I think that's what they need to do, really, though, but I hope, I hope that's what she plans to do. Don't try to change her whole style like she did in the second fight. Just go back and add, a few new things to her, right? To her old self. That's what I think needs to happen for Zhang Weili. But she also discussed the second fight. She pretty much said that she accepts the loss. She accepts the decision. She had a few cardio issues in this fight, which I didn't really think she had cardio issues. I think she just had a problem with the wrestling off of her back here. And, Rose Namajunas' surprise attack kind of got to her in the fourth and fifth round, and she just wasn't prepared for that. I don't really think she had cardio issues because it seemed like in the first 3 rounds, she was doing more work than Rose, But it's like I said, close decisions, you can make the argument that this person won, that person won, but it's really hard to say a fight was a robbery like this. And I do stand with Zhang Weili to accept the decision, because it's like I say, if you want to beat the champion, you have to beat the champion and you have to be dominant. So for Zhang Weili moving forward into 2022, she's got to refine that dominant factor. That dominant factor I say that's in Valentina Shevchenko, that you see in the rising fighters like Taylor Santos and Manon Firo, that brutal factor, that cold-blooded factor like Aaron Blanchfield has. You got to have that factor where you're going to go in there and not just win, but you want to break the will of your opponent and make it look like they have nothing for you. Almost like you tied their hands behind their back and you're just like slapping them around. Like you have to make it to that point where that's how you want every fight to go, or at least always stay ahead to that point where you have that in you where you can wow the judges. Like Manon Fiorot against Mayra Bueno Silva, even though she had the 19, she was always staying one step ahead, or I won't say one step. She was always trying to stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of Mayra Bueno Silva because she wanted that W, and she wanted it an open and shut case. You know what I mean? She didn't want the judge to say, oh, well, it could have went to this person. It could have went to that person. It could have been a draw, right? See, Zhang Weili in that fight, second fight with Rose Namajunas, she lacked that. She was just going in there showing too much respect and trying to make it a tit-for-tat fight, or at least trying to, play this chess match that she's not really used to with Rose Namajunas. She was letting Rose lead the dance too much, right? No, you got to grab her hand and spin her in the direction you want, spin her till she gets dizzy, and then drop her. You know what I mean? That's how you got to do. You got to lead the dance. So for Zhang Weili going into 2022, she got to refine that dominance factor. She got to refine that. She's got to build that. She's got to be brutal again. Got to have that brutality. You can't go in there and just say, oh, man, like, I want to be friends with this person. No, you got to kind of lose that factor. I think she has to lose that factor. And if she does, I think we'll see Zhang Weili go to a level where you might see her fight for that title again, right? But that's going to take a lot of work. That's really going to take a lot of work moving forward. But as far as like what really is next for Zhang Weili, I see a lot of hard work. I see a lot of hard work for, I think that she will have to fight down a few times here because, as y'all know, she said in this interview that she wanted Carla Esparza in June, right? But as y'all know, Carla Esparza is lined up to fight Rose Namajunas now. She has that rematch lined up probably like in early 2022. Granted, if that cut heals up over her eye after the grappling match. But I think that Zhang Weili in 2022, if she plans to come back in June, she's going to have to fight down now. And I think that's the best thing for her right now because Zhang Weili did miss out on a few opponents here. I'm not going to lie. Like, she had she had a quick rise to the top, like I said, fighting Aguilar, Danielle Taylor, and Tisha Torres, then getting that title shot. She missed out on those fighters at the time, like Claudia Gadelha, Suarez, and even Joanna before the title shot, right? So she could fight down here. She could fight the winner of a fighter like Tisha Torres and Ebos, maybe. The winner of that fight by the time they fight, maybe she could fight them in June. Maybe now, because I'm not sure because that fight is in the works. Well, no, Mackenzie Dern and Tisha Torres. Mackenzie Dern and Tisha Torres are in the works right now. But she could fight somebody like the winner of Ebos Waterson, once they get their fight out of the way. Or she could fight Marina Rodriguez. Marina Rodriguez has a fight coming up early 2022. So by the time, about 4 months from then, Marina and Zhang Weili could fight. Because right now, Marina's taking a step down fighting at number 4. So Marina could step in and fight the number 1 after that fight, right? So Zhang Weili, she's got a few options right now. But I think some of the options that she needs right now is to say, look, I got to humble myself and fight down. Fight down and kind of get into work and, work on different things, just rebuilding the old Zhang Weili. Let's not do Zhang Weili 2.0. Let's just do 1.5 and rebuild and add to our arsenal. That's what she really needs to do. And I think she probably will do that moving forward because she says she will be going, I think after the Chinese New Year, she says she's going to be going back to Arizona and she's going to be spending much more time with her camp now there with Henry Cejudo. And I think that's going to help build her. That probably will help build her a lot more. But man, like I said, I just want to get on here and talk about Zhang Weili one more time. Like I said, I'm still a fan of her. I can't counter out and say she's a hype job or, oh, she sucks like these people, like some of these trolls out here say, oh, like, she's never going to touch the belt again. There's a good possibility she could touch that belt again. I don't think it'll be this year. I really don't think it'll be in 2022. I think this year for Zhang Weili, I think what's next for her this year, I think what this year holds for her is a lot of rebuilding and a lot of work. Fighting down and maybe fighting 2 times this year, but having to really go back in there and kind of humble herself and fight some of these other strawweight contenders to just kind of refine her style and refine what brought her to the top again. You know what I mean? Kind of go back and review and reflect. Like I said, they when they got the belt, they never went back and did the work, like she said in another interview, to find out their weaknesses, find out their strengths again, right? So I think that's what this year really holds for Zhang Weili in 2022, fighting down and just kind of refining and seeing, okay, what do we change? What do we keep, right? So, yeah, man, shout out to Zhang Weili. Been a rough year, like I said, 0-2, but I think she'll be back. But I don't think she'll be in a title shot this year. But she will still be in that top 5, and I think she'll get there at some point. But, yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. It's been a good year for WMMA. Like I said, it's been a crazy one. Hope everybody has a happy new year. And, yeah, we're going to take this thing into 2022. And we'll be back with another live stream in 2022, y'all. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.